In 1980, a respected biology professor from the University of Chicago did something that made no sense. He quit his lab, walked away from his career, packed his equipment, and flew into one of the most dangerous jungles on Earth. Not for research funding, not for fame. He was hunting a living dinosaur. And here's the part nobody tells you. He wasn't the only one. At the exact same time, the Soviet government was funding expeditions to find something else. A creature that looked almost human. So let me ask you something. Why were trained scientists and entire governments chasing creatures that don't exist? And why did nobody talk about it? Today, we're going through 7 creatures that real scientists didn't laugh at. They went looking for them. And number 2, that one comes with a hand-drawn sketch that matches a dinosaur that should only exist in fossils. Let's begin. Creature number 7, Mokele Mbembe. Picture this. You're standing in a swamp in the Congo. No roads, no signal, no help. The water is still. Then suddenly, something moves beneath the surface. Not small, massive. Locals have been describing this thing for centuries. Long neck, small head, body like a living tank. They call it Mokele Mbembe, the one who stops the flow of rivers. Now, here's where it stops being a story. In 1980, a real scientist, Roy Mackall, led a funded expedition into that jungle to find it. Not once, twice. Think about that. A trained biologist risked his reputation for something most people would dismiss instantly. Why? Because the sightings were too consistent. Then, in 1983, a biologist claimed he saw it. Not a glimpse, not a shadow. 20 minutes. A long-necked creature rising above the water. And in 1992, a Japanese film crew captured aerial footage of something massive cutting through the swamp. Nobody could agree on what it was. Crocodile? Unknown animal? Something else? Here's the uncomfortable truth. We still don't know. And the Congo? Large parts of it remain completely unexplored. So the real question isn't, does it exist? It's, what are we missing out there? Creature number 6, Emela Ntuka. Same jungle, different nightmare. During that same expedition, locals described another creature. Not passive, not hidden, aggressive. They called it Emela Ntuka, the killer of elephants. Let that sink in. This thing doesn't hunt for food. It kills because it can. Imagine something strong enough to take down an elephant in its own territory. Now here's where it gets strange. Different tribes, different languages, different regions, no contact with each other. And yet, they all describe the exact same creature, same horn, same behavior, same environment. How does that happen? Coincidence or shared reality? One theory suggests a massive, semi-aquatic rhinoceros species. But here's the problem. No fossil record, no confirmed sightings. Nothing. And yet, stories that align too perfectly to ignore. So ask yourself, what kind of animal kills elephants and leaves no trace? Imagine, we've been in the jungle, and something worse is there, something that looks like us. Creature number 5, the almas. This one is different because it doesn't feel like a monster. It feels like something that shouldn't exist anymore. The almas, a primitive, human-like being, seen in the mountains of Central Asia, hair-covered, strong, intelligent, not an animal, not quite human, something in between. Now here's where it gets serious. In 1964, the Soviet Academy of Sciences officially proposed something that should not have been said out loud. They believed this creature could be a surviving population of Neanderthals. This wasn't conspiracy. This was government-backed research. Field reports were logged, sightings recorded. But here's the part that gets uncomfortable. A woman named Zana, captured in the 1800s, described as wild, hair-covered, inhuman strength. She had children. Her DNA? Human. But something about the case still doesn't fully make sense. And then in 2010, scientists discovered the Denisovans, A completely different human species, hidden in our past, unknown until recently. Which means one thing: we have been wrong about human history before. So what else are we wrong about? Creature number 4, the Ahul. Now imagine this. You're in the jungle at night, completely alone. You hear something above you. Wings. But too big, too heavy. Then a sound echoes through the trees. Ahul. That's where the name comes from. The Ahul. A bat. But not like anything we know. Wingspan? 12 feet. That's more than double the largest known bat. A trained zoologist saw it. Not once, twice. And decades later, multiple witnesses described the exact same thing. Same sound, same wings, same shape. Now think about this. Indonesia is one of the most biologically unexplored places on Earth. New species are still being discovered. So the idea of a large, unknown animal? Not impossible, just unconfirmed. Which is worse, because that means something could be there, and we just haven't found it yet. The next one, a tribe claims they didn't just see it, they killed it. Creature number 3, the Buru. The Apatani people tell a story. Not about spirits, not about myths, about animals. Real ones. When they arrived in their valley, it was a swamp, and something lived there, large, reptilian, dangerous. They called it the Buru, and they say they wiped them out. Multiple elders told the same story, same details, same events. And in the 1940s, an actual expedition was sent to investigate. Let that sink in, not dismissed, investigated. The conclusion? Possibly a giant monitor lizard, a species that shouldn't exist anymore. But here's the part that doesn't fit. The Buru didn't lay eggs. It gave birth. That's rare, unusual, but not impossible. And according to the Apatani, some of them didn't die. They went underground, into deep water systems. That still exists today. So here's the real question. What happens to a species when it disappears without proof? Creature number 2, the Ngaubao. This is where things stop making sense. In the year 2000, a hunter in Cameroon drew something from memory. 6 horns, a frill, a heavy body. The researchers looked at it and froze because it matched something that should not exist. The closest match? Styracosaurus, a dinosaur. Now here's the impossible part. That dinosaur has only ever been found in North America. And yet, a man in Africa drew it, without ever knowing it existed. The locals call it the Ngubu. They say it's real. They say it fights elephants. They say it's rare and declining. One was allegedly killed, recently. But no one followed up. No expedition, no investigation, nothing. So think about this carefully. How does someone draw something that shouldn't exist and get it almost perfectly right? Creature number 1, the Ogua. Let's bring this closer to home. In 1746, a boy is fishing. A river you could visit today. Something grabs him, pulls him under, gone. Witnesses describe it as a turtle, but not normal. Massive, too big, too aggressive. The creature becomes known as the Ogua. And here's what's disturbing. Reports don't stop. For centuries. Same description, same behavior, even as recently as the 1980s. Now think about what that means. Generations, different people, same creature. Theories say maybe a prehistoric turtle species, maybe something that adapted, or maybe something we've been ignoring because it doesn't fit what we believe. And that river? Still there, still flowing. Here's the part nobody says. Scientists didn't laugh at these stories. They chased them across jungles, mountains, rivers. They just never found proof. But in 1938, a fish that was supposed to be extinct for 65 million years was found alive. So let me say this clearly. One of these creatures is real. We just haven't found it yet. The question is, which one? Comment it. I'll pin the best answer. And if you think this was strange, the next video goes deeper. Creatures that were once called myths and turned out to be real. You're not ready for that one?